I lost someone this week, someone very important to me, who was both an inspiration and a challenge for me and for so many. I'm talking about Chuck Norris, who passed away, shocking us all. He was an army of one. He was Lone Wolf McQuade. He was Walker, Texas Rangers, staring down a whole room full of bad guys who at 6-1 still seemed outnumbered. We all knew when the Boogeyman gets ready for bed, well, he checks the closet for Chuck Norris. Bigfoot, he's in hiding because he once saw Chuck Norris in the mountains. In all his movies, there are no Chuck Norris enemies or villains that continue. They're an extinct species. I treasure a couple of Chuck Norris personal stories that I'm going to share with you and also tell you how he helped me set a couple of world records. Hi, Bob Kurtz, multiple golf world record holder and the host of this Ironman Golfcast. And so welcome to this tribute to Chuck Norris, who I first met almost 50 years ago. And since this is about golf, at least most of the time, I'm going to share with you an eye-opening revelation and secret that will, I promise you, dramatically help your golf game. It helped me. It helped me to advance into the National Long Drive Contest. We'll get to that. Information about golf that we learned from Chuck Norris so quickly, but first, let's tell the story. 1978. Chuck Norris was just becoming an action movie star. He'd already been a villain in a film starring his buddy Bruce Lee. Remember that one? But now he was out promoting his own action hero movie. It was called Good Guys Wear Black. In that movie, Chuck Norris performed one of the greatest stunts in the history of action films. Oh, man. There was a car charging down on him, and he jumps up while the car's coming right at him, kicked out the car window, taking out the hitman bad guy. And it was Chuck Norris himself who did that high-flying, perfectly timed leap into the windshield onto that oncoming fast car. Wow, that movie was the beginning of the Chuck Norris legend. In a room full of tough guys, from that point on, well, he was always the toughest. His leaping kicks to the chest always knocked down the biggest bullies, but it was his roundhouse kicks that all of us loved. Chuck Norris was the only action hero who could kick you in the back of your face. That was the time that I met him. He was out promoting his first big-time action movie, that Good Guys Wear Black. I was a sportscaster in Denver on the popular ABC affiliate there, and Norris had come to the station, well, prepared for me to interview him and talk to him. And it was logical for sports because he was a 700-time world karate champion. Well, maybe not 700 times, but over and over and over again. He held black belts in these different categories. I mean, he held black belts in karate, in taekwondo, in tang soo do, in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, in judo itself. He was one bad hombre. But I didn't want just to interview him. I wanted more. I wanted action. You see, we had a good amount of time on the sports portion of the 6 o'clock news. Always hated the 10 o'clock news because all you could do is really quickly give the scores and the information. But this was 6 o'clock, ample time, and I asked Norris if he'd mind in this segment if we just went out on the studio floor and have him show me some of his special moves. He smiled, that cocky Chuck Norris smile, and said, "Sure." He says, "I'll even show you how to be an action hero." Well, I like that. He then taught me how to use my hip and throw him to the floor. Wow, that sounded pretty good to me, that I would use his momentum coming at me in his charge, and we practiced it. And I tossed him down a couple of times. Felt pretty good about myself. "Now," he said, "when we do this on air, I'm going to jump up and then I'm going to throw a whole bunch of punches at you. Don't you move. Not a bit. You freeze right in place. Don't even blink your eyes." Airtime, my cue, and in my best broadcasting voice, I'm here with karate champion Chuck Norris, star of a new action picture. Chuck, I can handle myself fairly well. Why don't you come at me? He did. I stepped to the side as he showed me, using his momentum and using my hip, and I tossed him onto the studio floor. Wow. What he did next was so wild. He bounced up and he started throwing punches and kicks and more punches and more kicks. I stood there just absolutely frozen. Frankly, I almost wet myself. His kicks, his fists came within micrometers of destroying me. All accurate, all fast and hard, all deadly. He could have taken out my throat, he could have taken out my eyes, and more. But he didn't. Thank goodness. That was my first encounter with Chuck Norris. A few years later, I love this story. So I was with Turner Broadcasting. I was doing sports on CNN back in the days when CNN was still doing sports reporting and some sports shows. When now, action hero, movie superstar, America's new super guy, Chuck Norris, he shows up at our Atlanta network headquarters to do the talk show with Larry King. Remember him? Well, I greeted Chuck and I asked him, I said, hey, do you remember that episode a few years ago when we did this thing and you jumped up and threw all those punches? He laughed, said, I sure do. And then he apologized. He says, I'm so sorry. I should never have done that. I could have broken your skull. I could have put out your eyes. I could have smashed your throat. I could have fractured all your ribs. You were the first non-fighter to ever challenge me. I'm sorry, he said, but it was sure fun. And I learned. I haven't done anything like that since. My goodness. What a great guy. Another couple of years passed, and I saw him in an airport. He came over, he greeted me, and he said, well, Bob, tell me, have you recovered from all that trauma? I think I have. But I also still flinch every time I see him in action, kicking and throwing all those punches. How did that experience translate into golf lessons for you? I'll tell you this. Now it's golf lesson time. Speed, which Chuck Norris had in abundance. Speed equals power. Speed equals power. Chuck Norris was not a big guy, but he learned short distance speed. Snap. Lightning fast. Wow, and he was so good at it. So after studying his style, I incorporated speed instruction in all my lessons about power. Now, just think about it. Hogan was small. Rory McIlroy, he's not big. And Akshay Bhatia, he only weighs about 12 pounds. But all of them use speed to create impressive power. I want you to take your driver and take it about waist high and then swing as fast as you can. But what I really want you to do is turn it over. Hold it by the driver side and then create a loud whoosh. Work on your speed. Just keep those hands going fast. Instead of swinging hard with your shoulders, use your hands. And then when you're hitting your drives 20 yards further than you ever have, I want you to thank Chuck Norris. Don't injure your driver that way. Thank Chuck Norris, because Chuck, well, I thank him. He taught me a lot of things. He taught me discipline, perseverance, and often when I was pursuing a marathon world record in golf, I think of Chuck Norris and his discipline, his preparation for his many world titles. And thanks to him, I learned the discipline of hitting balls 6 days a week, no matter what the temperature, no matter what the weather. And I'd like to thank him for one more lesson. This lesson is it's cool to be a man of faith. His example. Now I'm very serious here. of speaking his beliefs have inspired me and others. There's a great story about that, about his values. Did you know that when he was asked to be in the Sylvester Stallone, Jason Statham movie, the second one, Expendables 2, what a great franchise that was. I love the Expendables movies. So they wanted Chuck Norris to be among all those great action heroes. He had only one request, that they remove all the vulgar language, because it was pretty rough. And he said he wanted his young fans to be able to enter the theater and watch the movie. Guess what? The studio agreed. They cleaned up the language. The movie still got an R rating because of the violence. You can say any kind of filthy language that you want, but boy, don't have too much violence because you're going to get an R rating. Chuck Norris didn't mind violence against really bad guys. And all the guys he fought were really bad guys. I don't either. Stop and think about it. Like that serial child molester who was released early in California. Don't you remember something that Jesus said? If you harm one of the least of these, it is better if a millstone be placed around your neck and you be drowned out in the sea. I mean, he was tough on those who hurt the little ones, hurt the weaker ones. It's better to have that heavy millstone around your neck and you'd be just drowned out in the sea. I hate to say it, but predators, child molesters, I don't have a problem with that. Don't let this get out any further. But man, oh man, oh man, oh man, when you harm the weak and the small and the young, whew, you deserve whatever comes to you. You know, in the later episodes of Walker, Texas Rangers, Norris often used his Christian beliefs and his Christian influence just to slip into the show so there'd be some good lessons in there. In addition, I admire Chuck Norris because he was caring. You see, caring is not a weakness. Caring shows you're a man of strength. It marks a man of strength. His wife, Jenna, whom he credits with bringing him back to the faith that was taught to him by his mother, she fell seriously ill, and he was by her side constantly. He put his career on hold and acted as her primary caretaker. He also spent over $2 million on treatments. I admire him. He had great character, great principles. It's a great influence. So, goodbye to Lone Wolf McQuade. Goodbye to Walker, Texas Rangers. Goodbye to karate and taekwondo champ Chuck Norris. All we can say is, well done. Good and faithful servant. Enter into the joy promised you by your strong faith. And from all of us to you, thank you. And God bless you.